Thank you for standing by, and welcome to the C3 AI Inc. annual meeting. I will now turn the call over to Andrew Thomasis. You may begin.
Hello, and welcome to C3 AI's 2025 annual meeting of stockholders. I am Andrew Thomasis, the General Counsel of C3 AI. We are pleased to be conducting today's meeting as an audio webcast and are happy you can join us. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. The meeting will now come to order. I will begin with a few introductions. I am joined today by Thomas M. Siebel, Executive Chairman of C3 AI and Chair of today's meeting. I am also joined by C3 AI's Chief Executive Officer, Stephen Nahikian, Hitesh Lath, our Chief Financial Officer, and Amit Berry, Vice President of Finance and Investor Relations. I would like to welcome the members of our Board of Directors who are attending this meeting. We also have with us representatives from Deloitte & Touche LLP, our independent registered public accounting firm, as well as legal counsel from Cooley LLP. Finally, Beth W. Vanderbeck from Broadridge Financial Solutions is participating on this webcast and will act as the Inspector of Elections for today's meeting. She has signed an oath of office, which will be filed with the minutes of this meeting. I will now review the meeting procedures and formalities as well as the proposals to be considered by stockholders, and I will review the procedure for voting on the proposals properly before this meeting. This meeting is being held in accordance with C3 AI's amended and restated bylaws and Delaware law. A copy of the rules of conduct that govern today's meeting can be found in the meeting materials section of the web portal for today's virtual meeting. We ask that you abide by these rules in order to facilitate an orderly meeting. I have at this meeting an affidavit certifying that on or about August 21, 2025, a notice of annual meeting of stockholders of the company was deposited in the U.S. mail to all stockholders of record as of the close of business on August 4, 2025. Today, we will address the matters described in the company's proxy statement dated August 21, 2025. We will open the polls for each proposal to be voted on, and they will be voted on in the order set forth in the company's proxy statement. No other matters have been properly brought for consideration at today's meeting. If you have not already voted and wish to vote during today's meeting, you may vote at any time while the polls remain open. If you have already voted your vote by proxy and you do not wish to change your vote, you do not need to vote now, and your shares will be voted as previously instructed. If you intend to vote and have not already done so, you must submit your vote online for it to be counted. The polls will close immediately following the question and answer session. After the proposals have been presented, we will take appropriate questions from stockholders. Any stockholder entitled to vote at the meeting and logged onto the web portal may ask a question at any time by entering it into the appropriate section of the web portal. Please note that the question must conform to the posted rules of conduct for the meeting to be addressed. Once the question and answer session has ended, the polls will be closed, the votes tabulated, and preliminary voting results announced. I have been informed by Ms. Vanderbeck that a majority of the voting power of all outstanding shares of the company's capital stock entitled to vote at today's meeting is present, either virtually or by proxy. As this constitutes a quorum, today's meeting is duly convened and open for business. We will now proceed with the formal business of the meeting. It is shortly after 10 a.m. Pacific Time, and at the direction of the meeting's chair, the polls are open for stockholders desiring to vote today. As a reminder, if you have already sent in a proxy or voted via the telephone or internet and do not wish to change your vote, no further action is needed. There are 3 proposals to be considered by the stockholders at this meeting, each of which is more fully described in the company's proxy statement dated August 21, 2025. The first proposal is the election of 3 Class II directors, each to hold office until the 2028 annual meeting of shareholders and until his successor is duly elected and qualified or until his earlier death, resignation, or removal. The Class II director nominees are General John Hyten, retired, Richard C. Levin, and Bruce Sewell. The Board of Directors recommends that you vote for the election of these Class II director nominees. The second proposal is a non-binding advisory vote on the compensation of the company's named executive officers as disclosed in the company's proxy statement. The Board of Directors recommends that you vote on an advisory basis for the approval of the compensation of our named executive officers as disclosed in the company's proxy statement. The third proposal is the ratification of the appointment of Deloitte & Touche LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending April 30, 2026. The Board of Directors recommends that you vote for the ratification of the appointment of Deloitte & Touche LLP. No other proposals have been properly presented for consideration at today's meeting. We will now review if any questions have been submitted before we close the polls. As a reminder, we will only answer questions that comply with the rules of conduct and pertain to the proposals of the business of the meeting. There are no questions. There being no questions, at the direction of the meeting's chair, the polls are now closed for voting. No additional ballots, proxy, or votes, and no changes or revocations will be accepted. Based on the preliminary voting results, as reported by the Inspector of Election, the stockholders have 1. Elected each of the Class II director nominees to hold office as Class II directors until the 2028 annual meeting of the stockholders and until his successors duly elected and qualified or until his earlier death, resignation, or removal. 2. Approved on an advisory basis the compensation of the company's named executive officers. And 3. Ratified the appointment of Deloitte & Touche LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending April 30, 2026. We expect to disclose preliminary voting results, or, if available to us, final voting results on a current report on Form 8-K to be filed with the SEC within 4 business days after this meeting. If not earlier reported, we will expect to report our final voting results in an amendment to our Form 8-K within 4 business days after final results are known to us. This concludes our planned agenda for today. There's no other formal business before us. This annual meeting is adjourned. We thank you again for your attendance and for your continued support of C3AI.
This concludes today's annual meeting. You may now disconnect.